In public, I would say godliness, connected to God inside and out. In private, I would say connected to my beloved. When you do things from your soul, you feel a rhythm moving in you, a joy, says Rumi. So we all can be spiritual without having a religion. Religion doesn't necessarily equate spirituality, but spirituality will always eventually equate the love of God.
How can one start exploring their spirituality?
I would say a good place is going inwards, and meditation is always a good place to start exploring ourselves inwardly. So spirituality is getting to know our true selves. So meditation is always going to be a big part of spirituality. I don't think we can separate that. First, meditation is inwardly, and then it becomes a living part of our life. So science and spirituality at one place then will, in my opinion, split, where science can take us so far and then spirituality will take us further. Future is all imagination. So that's the mind acting over time. When we're in the mind, we're in the thoughts or we're in the emotions, we're not really in the now. Thoughts and emotions work together to create the ego.
What is spirituality to you?
Spirituality to me is living from the real place within. We are so accustomed to living from the mind and body now that we've forgotten that there is a deep realness inside each and every one of us. So to me, spirituality is when we're coming from the soul, connected to the soul, and that is projected outwardly into every aspect of our lives. In public, I would say godliness, connected to God inside and out. In private, I would say connected to my beloved. When you do things from your soul, you feel a rhythm moving in you, a joy, says Rumi. My soul is from elsewhere. I'm sure of that, and I intend to end up there.
How does spirituality differ from religion?
Spirituality differs from religion in that spirituality, I would say, is an individual process. And each individual person has to go through transcending their limitations, their beliefs, whatever's holding them back from their true essence. And there's no formula for it. Whereas religion, you can go the spiritual path with religion if we go to the true essence of each religion. But more often than not, it's more mentally reciting different verses or trying to read somebody else's experience and get there through a logical standpoint, whereas spirituality is experiential and transcending. Religion, I would say, is more rules and a process.
Can someone be spiritual without being religious?
Absolutely. In fact, my spiritual teacher always said, if you have the love of God and no religion, you are much better off than those that have a religion and no love of God. So the love of God does not require a religion. So we all can be spiritual without having a religion. Religion doesn't necessarily equate spirituality, but spirituality will always eventually equate the love of God. And we are here not to search for love, but to remove all the barriers that are keeping us from that.
Could it be these very barriers that keep us away from each other by being part of different religious groups? Is that how religion is?
Religion can separate us, absolutely. If we go to the place that my religion is better than your religion, then it's a part of separating us. My beliefs are better than your beliefs, then we're separating us from each other. But if we go to the commonality in each religion, which is God and oneness in every religion, it does eventually and inevitably take us back to that one God. If we come from that standpoint, it will connect us. If we come from the standpoint that my religion and my beliefs are better than your religion and your beliefs, and mine is right and yours is wrong, then it will separate us.
How can one start exploring their spirituality?
I would say a good place is going inwards, and meditation is always a good place to start exploring ourselves inwardly. So spirituality is getting to know our true selves. So meditation, a practice is essential, I would say, to getting to know ourselves, and a community to belong to, having a spiritual teacher that can take you there, can really expedite your process and your path. Spending time in solitude, spending time with like-minded people that are in that same goal, wanting to reach or go inwards and get to that spiritual living place. That's important too. Spending time in nature. All those aspects are important, but really going inward is essential. And I think a spiritual teacher is also essential on the path of spirituality.
What are some of the common misconceptions about spirituality?
Some of the common misconceptions about spirituality are that you have to be philosophical, you have to have attained a certain state to be spiritual, that it's not for everybody. Those are the common ones. Spirituality is for everyone because we're spiritual beings having a human experience. We are spirit, we are soul. And once we learn to live from that soul place, we're more tender, we're more real. We're not afraid of coming from that love place with everyone and everything. Spirituality and God, to me, equate love. There is no separation in that.
How can spirituality improve your life?
Spirituality can improve our life, just first of all, when real. When no longer victims to our circumstances, we're no longer victims to our situations. We take full accountability for our experience, for our reactions, for what is going on in our life. And one of the biggest things is that self-improvement becomes our focus. So versus being a victim all the time and outward blame, we become fully responsible for our experience and for our self-improvement and inevitably for our peace.
And what role does meditation play in spirituality?
I think meditation plays a big role in spirituality because it forces us to go inwards. Forcing might not be the right word here, but, we are going inwards, and we face all our seemingly shortcomings in that what is keeping us away from peace, what is keeping us away from being real, what is keeping us away from being in love and intoxicating with the divine. So meditation is always going to be a big part of spirituality. I don't think we can separate that. First, meditation is inwardly, and then it becomes a living part of our life. So meditation is a strong part of spirituality, in my opinion.
How does spirituality relate to personal growth?
I think it can be separated. Spirituality and personal growth go hand in hand. If we have a spiritual outlook on life, we're always looking at self-development, self-improvement in ourselves, in our relationships, in the way we come out in the world, in the way we connect to the world. It is all personal growth, I would say. Again, all roads end to unconditional love.
Can spirituality coexist with science?
Absolutely. So science can give us a lot of information about nature, about quantum physics, about some of the mysteries to our brain. Science can give us a lot of information about that. But there's some explanations that science cannot give us. And that's where spirituality comes in. And that's where the mystical side of things come in. So science and spirituality at one place then will, in my opinion, split, where science can take us so far and then spirituality will take us further.
How do you maintain your spirituality in a busy modern life?
in a busy modern life, when we are that, when we are in that calm, collected, peaceful, or loving place, we take that into every aspect of our life, be it busy or be it not busy. First, I think we will learn to have tools and techniques to bring us back to that place initially, because it is a practice. And then when it becomes our natural state, then there's no difference. Either we're busy or we're not busy, we are in that state. Spirituality is actually a state. It's not a subject or an object. It's a state of being. So we learn to be in that state in every aspect of our life.
Do you think being in the present moment is an example of what you're talking about? Like if you're engaged in gardening, for example.
Yeah.
So just being right in the moment, not really dwelling on the past or thinking about the future, do you think then?
Being in the now is a great catalyst into going into your spiritual selves. So thoughts are all about the past. Future is all imagination. So that's the mind acting over time. When we're in the mind, we're in the thoughts or we're in the emotions, we're not really in the now. Thoughts and emotions work together to create the ego. So when we can transcend that or put it aside for a while, we're in the now. That's the present moment. But spirituality and the now can differ also. Spirituality is actually being in touch with your essence, your true essence. Whereas now is being in touch with that present moment, maybe with what you're doing externally. So it can differ. It also can be the same thing if we're internally in the now, inwards.
What are some of the signs of spiritual awakening?
Some of the signs of spiritual awakening is enjoying solitude, enjoying your own company, being in nature, meditating more. I think a sense of peace internally, being one with all that is, knowing that we are more similar than different, and then the higher states of spiritual awakening or the states of spirituality is being in oneness, being in unconditional love, being in peace, being in joy.
So on this path, how does one deal with spiritual challenges or crisis?
I think this is a good place to have a teacher. When you have a spiritual teacher, they've been there. And they know how to guide you through that process and help that process be a lot smoother. That is the most effective way, I think, of dealing with it, as seeking help, having a spiritual teacher, and getting that guidance.